5 types of women who can tempt men into infidelity, but are hard to truly love. Men, when encountering these types of women, know that infidelity is wrong but can't help themselves. The kind of woman who can easily get men's attention is the one who doesn't need any scheming or flirting. She is content to fall into a man's arms. She is willing to sacrifice and offer affection regardless of how the man's love turns out. This very fact makes men feel that such a woman is too easily won, without needing to make an effort or put in work. They are never appreciated, and the same goes for men. What is not preserved is sure to make men feel bored and eventually leave. Women, in their view, always want to become the tune of men, valuing the feeling of wanting to return home, wanting men to return to them no matter how lost they have been. Simply put, women inherently have the nature of being wives, mothers, and the anchors for men. Forgiveness and waiting are instincts, but men think that women's forgiveness is because they cannot live without men. They believe this is obvious, just weighing play, mistakes, challenges. The endurance of women is because they think the wife is still there like a home that can't go anywhere. So, what's there to worry about? As long as it's not too long, anything must be just enough, then people will strive for more. The same goes for men. If a woman is too good, there will be times when men no longer love. If a woman is too understanding, men will at times be indifferent. But men should also remember, these are the 3 reasons that once gone, will make them regret for a lifetime. Women give love easily because of love, they sincerely treat because of affection, and they stay out of duty, unwilling to leave. A woman can love wholeheartedly, passionately, thoughtlessly, but she must make men appreciate her, make herself valuable in the eyes of men. Don't give in easily, don't blindly stay, and also don't forgive too quickly. If a man doesn't have this person, he will surely have another. A woman with feminine qualities is a woman who is feminine enough, gentle enough for men to have the opportunity to protect and cherish when with her. They satisfy the need to be a true man. Not only that, the feminine quality in a woman is also the instinct to be a mother, a wife, to take care of the home and family. This type of woman makes men feel satisfied in their need to protect and care, making men feel they are true men, not just exploiters. Adultery in women is more frightening than in men. Women's adultery is genuinely dangerous and more terrifying. Many women who have not committed adultery, once they do, it's often disastrous. There was a couple, who, in the eyes of others, were truly peaceful and harmonious, but one day suddenly the wife was heard crying. Oh, it turns out she discovered her husband's affair with an ex-lover. After being discovered, the husband frantically tried to make excuses, begging, and swearing. He even said he was unworthy of being the father of the children. Only the wife knew that the old love was not sober, to drink from the river of love, to come to such a beautiful love. If she made a big deal out of it, it wasn't necessarily wise. The husband knew he was wrong. One chance for him to turn back. Just think what could be done after that, not knowing if their marital affection would be damaged, but in the eyes of others, they are still a happy family. My cousin married at 20, a marriage born out of true love. Nearly 10 years of marriage, she was a dutiful daughter-in-law and wife. Even though her husband, the man she wholeheartedly loved, was sometimes abusive, she endured it all. Everyone said she lived in pain, accustomed to suffering. One day, my aunt called, my mother cried silently. What could be more painful for a mother than knowing her daughter committed adultery? Her husband and his family called my uncle over to talk. If she admitted her wrongs, they would forgive her once. But in the crowd, she only apologized to her parents for causing them pain and sorrow because of her. Tearfully she said she knew she was wrong, didn't need forgiveness, the divorce papers were already prepared. The 2 children, over 7 years old, could choose to follow either mother or father. Every word she said astonished everyone. Some said she perhaps lived in such pain, accustomed to suffering. Then one day, my aunt called. My mother cried silently. What could be more painful for a mother than knowing her daughter committed adultery? Her husband and his family called my uncle over to talk. If she admitted her wrongs, they would forgive her once. But in the crowd, she only apologized to her parents for causing them pain and sorrow because of her. Tearfully she said she knew she was wrong, didn't need forgiveness, the divorce papers were already prepared. The two children, over 7 years old, could choose to follow either mother or father. Every word she said astonished everyone. Some said she perhaps lived in such pain, accustomed to suffering. In the end, a girl said, his wife is still a good woman. She has been for him, for his family for so many years, known as a bad wife. But he would still regret letting go. But once someone wants to leave, even if you want to hold on, you can't keep a man who commits adultery. Men who seek fun and change of scenery outside. Perhaps we have heard so much that sometimes we think it's normal. Nothing to be surprised about. Some even say infidelity is part of men's culture. But women who commit adultery easily forget the way back, forget to preserve their home. Women's adultery being discovered makes the family afterward very difficult to be harmonious. Because men always consider being cuckolded as an internal disgrace, they will torment and harass their wives endlessly. So, women who commit adultery in their hearts also decide to give up on marriage. Many people say women's adultery is more frightening than men's. Women who commit adultery are completely devastated. Why is it so? Perhaps because men's adultery is out of desire. Most of them always think adultery is just a new thrill without needing the old. They like temporary relationships, like dreamy straw huts. After a moment of pleasure, they still return home, while women who commit adultery are usually not for fun. Usually, they already have existing pain, injuries, and long accumulating cracks that cause feelings to shatter, wear away. And they are easily fallen for what they don't find in their husbands. People say men's adultery causes the family to fall apart. And women, their hearts break first before committing adultery. Men who commit adultery only then realize no one is good to them, willing to sacrifice for them like their wife. Women who commit adultery then realize there are many better options for them. Perhaps that's why men who stray often find their way back. But women who have gone don't want to look back at the end of the affair. Men can return home, but women will leave for good. A real statistic is that divorce rates when the wife commits adultery are always higher than when the husband does. Is the reason because men are selfish? Not really, it's the men's arrogant ego. Often larger, they usually default to the philosophy of one man to many wives from their fathers and grandfathers. They are smug with the analogy of the relationship between men and women as a mark of creation and nature. From ancient times through the image of 7 lions, only the male has the privilege of polygamy, not a female lion daring to whimsically commit adultery. Many adulterous husbands have clear evidence like daylight, but when a wife is just at the level of mental adultery, they are already disparaged. The wife knows adultery is wrong, but how can you distinguish the way back for men and women when the other party also has certain mistakes that force the spouse to be half in, half out of the marriage? So, adultery is indeed a cruel path for women. Is men's adultery because of love? Blank. Blank. This translation captures the essence and context of the original Vietnamese text, maintaining the cultural and emotional nuances as much as possible. During a coffee meet-up with my friends, a lively debate erupted when one of the guys asked, "Do men really love the other woman in affairs?" The phrase, "other woman," stirred up a lot of emotions among the women in the group, sparking a heated discussion. It seemed like everyone was haunted by these words, haunted by the painful jealousy they evoked. Interestingly, most women believed that such relationships do not involve true love, dismissing them as mere fleeting emotions. The question arises, do men really experience true love in their affairs? Many wives, upon discovering their husband's infidelity, ponder this question. There are many excuses made to justify these relationships. It was just a crush, my husband once told me during one of his affairs. He claimed to have no real feelings involved, and I believed him, thinking it was just a momentary lapse. Is a crush really just a passing fancy? I asked myself when I found out for the 3rd time that my husband was still seeing that woman, still giving the same excuses, asking for time to sort things out. Let's not make a big deal out of it. It's nothing serious yet. Yeah, it's nothing, I believe. Many wives believe this when they catch their husbands and they return home. But I was wrong. It was love. The time he asked for was to arrange everything smoothly, to comfortably build a new life for himself. I realized too late. It was beyond salvaging. I remember feeling incredibly bitter. I suddenly understood that his first affair, also starting from a crush, was just like how he fell for me when we met at a medical seminar. From those crushes, feelings grow into love. Then, from love comes dreams of a home, of making up for things we couldn't stop in time. The line between a crush and love is indeed very thin. I was too complacent and underestimated the situation. I trusted too much in the idea of a crush, thinking such feelings would quickly fade. But that wasn't the case. When feelings deepen, even my husband admitted he was truly in love. That was real love. Do men in affairs really love the other woman? My friend answered yes, not after public confrontations. Most men defend the other woman. They wouldn't if they weren't in love, right? After everything falls apart, men choose to continue their happiness with their mistresses. They don't love, but when their wives ask, no man beats around the bush or denies it. They admit their guilt quickly, however little or much it may be. Their feelings for the other woman are real, regardless of the reason. Infidelity is often severely condemned, but when they choose to continue their happiness with the other woman, they don't love, but when their wives ask, no man beats around the bush or denies it. They admit their guilt quickly, however little or much it may be. Their feelings for the other woman are real, regardless of the reason. The constant fear of a man who cheats. Women should remember, cheating men have the following 7 fears if you understand them. According to psychology experts, it's easy to manipulate such men. Although men are generally stronger and more stoic than women, they still harbor deep-seated fears. Alongside the thrill and passion of an affair, many husbands cannot escape the fear of doing something wrong. They fear being despised by their children. Sons often take their fathers as role models, while daughters see their fathers as the ideal standard for choosing a husband. No father wants to be a tarnished, broken example in their children's eyes. When a father's affair is exposed, children usually side with their mother and confront their father. They fear criticism, fear being judged and condemned by everyone. Although modern society has become more open to individuals' private relationships, a man cheating while having a family has never been, and will never be, easily accepted or overlooked. They fear losing their career and reputation. No one wants to cooperate or partner with someone unfaithful. Because of their own desires, they are ready to abandon their family, their wife who has been through hardships with them. How can one ensure that such a person won't betray their company, turn their back on a project? They fear being exploited in their relationship with the other woman. It's based somewhat on an exchange of benefits. Therefore, they fear not receiving genuine affection, fear being just prey for their lover. They fear not being able to keep her if one day the mistress gets pregnant, or if she gets bored and wants to be acknowledged and go public. No man wants that day to come for him, fear of being discovered. No matter what, he is doing something wrong, not only breaking the law but also going against morals. Therefore, their minds are always uneasy, always stretched thin thinking about how to cover up their misdeeds.
The video ends here. Thank you for watching until the end and hope it met your expectations. If you have any comments or feedback, please let us know in the comments section. Please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any interesting videos in the future. Hello, see you again in the next video.